move. Okay, let me hold the space bar and then move. Let me zoom in a little. Now when I fill the color, I get the sharp edges, right? Very hard edges. What if I want to make it smooth? So what I can do is, let me first undo the selection, undo once again, and to undo on Adobe Photoshop you can always use Alt Control Z, Alt Control and Z. Alright, so let me say I want to smooth these areas. So what I can do is, let me select the marquee tool, right click here, select the option feather. Now the more feather I give here, the more smooth the areas would be. So by default let me give it 5. Yeah, let it be 5, and let me click OK. You can see the changes with the selection. Now let me go ahead and fill in the color, and let me deselect. Now I have smooth edges. Let me zoom out. To zoom out, I can select the zoom tool and press the Alt key on the keyboard. When I press Alt, I get a minus symbol, and then just zoom out or drag. Right? Let me move the document here, the file. I have smooth edges. Right? So let me go ahead and delete this layer. Let me delete it. Okay, now let's go ahead with the second tool, which is the elliptical marquee tool. Before I go ahead and select that, let me create a new layer, name it as circle. Okay, now let me right click here and then select the elliptical marquee tool. I have the tool. Now let me make a selection. Okay, now I can fill in a color inside the selection or outside the selection by inversing, by selecting this option, select inverse. Or I can also fill in the color, let me zoom in a little, on this selection, on this selection. Let's go ahead and try that. Now this tool is known as the move tool. I would explain to you about that. So let me click on the marquee tool and let me click on edit and then select stroke. Alright, let me click on stroke, and the more pixels I give here, the more wider the colors would be filled in. Let me select 5 and choose a different color. Let me click OK, and I can choose the location, either center, outside, or inside. Alright, so let me leave it to center. Click OK. Now color is filled in on this selection. You can do it using any selection tool. You can use it by selecting rectangular marquee, elliptical marquee, single row or single column marquee tool. All these tools are just to make selection. Alright, let me select the elliptical marquee tool. Now let me zoom out. Let me press the Alt key on the keyboard and then click. Now let me select the marquee tool, right click and click on deselect. Alright, now let's go ahead with the single row marquee tool. Now usually using the rectangular marquee tool and the elliptical marquee tool, all we did was select the tool, press the left button on the mouse and then drag. Right, now this time you need not drag using the single row marquee tool or the single column marquee tool. what I can do is I can select that tool, create a new layer, say row, and then all I can do is just click once. The selection is made. Let me zoom in. You can see the selection made, right? Now what if I want to make multiple selections? What I can do is select the tool, the single row marquee tool, and then hold the shift key on the keyboard and then click. When I hold shift, I get a plus symbol. You can notice here on the cursor. I release the shift, plus is gone. I press the shift, the plus is back. Let me click here again. Let me zoom out. And the shortcut on the keyboard to zoom in and zoom out would be holding Alt key on the keyboard and zooming in by moving the wheel, which is in the middle of the mouse, front or back. When you move it front, it zooms in. When you move it back, it zooms out. Alright, so let's go ahead with the selection. Let me hold shift. Alright, now the selection is made. Now I can fill in the colors inside this selection. Alright, so let us select a color, or I can also add strokes. Right, so let me go ahead and fill in the color first. To fill in the color, let me press Alt and backspace on the keyboard. Now let me right click and deselect. Let me hide the circle. See, the colors are filled in. Right. Now you can use the single column marquee tool, and let's create a new layer and rename it as column, and make this selection by clicking once, and I can always hold the shift to make multiple selections. And to move this file, you can press the space bar on the keyboard and then left click on the mouse and then move. Selection is made. Now what I can do is I can delete the object inside this selection. I've zoomed in. Okay, what I can do is I can delete the object inside this selection. Let's go ahead and delete by pressing the delete key on the keyboard. And before that, I'll have to make sure I select this layer, right, which is the row layer. Let me select the row and then hit delete and deselect. You can see the changes, right? The objects inside the selection were deleted. Now let me undo this and let's try giving the feather. Right click, select feather, let's say 10. 10 is not acceptable, so let's try 2. Sorry, 2. Feather 5. Alright, let's try deleting now. Let me press delete and let me deselect. Now actually this is after I give a feather and then try to delete. Let's try it with the rectangular marquee tool. Let me make a selection and let me give some feathers. Let me say 5 and then let me try deleting. It's soft, right? Let me deselect. Let's see what happens. It's so soft.